Hey, awesome crew, I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm Mark, and today we're diving into some juicy Reddit tales. If you're a fan of Reddit stories, why not hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe ring that notification bell too? Let's jump right into the first story. Sending you all tons of love. Our first tale comes from user OKRepeat7885, titled, Am I the jerk for banning my mother-in-law from visiting after she wrecked my Lego Millennium Falcon? Oh boy, that sounds intense. Let's dive in, but I'm already leaning toward not the jerk here. Let's read on. I'm a 38-year-old guy living with my 37-year-old wife and our 7-year-old son. I'm an engineer, and my wife's a senior manager at a law firm. I've been a Lego enthusiast since childhood. It's a bit geeky, I know, but it brings me joy. In 2024, my son and I spent months crafting the Millennium Falcon Lego set. It's our pride and joy, and I love showing it off to visitors. My wife doesn't quite get the obsession, but doesn't mind either. In March, my wife's parents visited for a week. As usual, I offered to show them my Lego collection. They agreed, and while my father-in-law was impressed by the effort behind my collection, my mother-in-law called it a pointless hobby. She said I should focus on being a real man and climbing the corporate ladder. I brushed it off, thinking it was just her old-school mindset. We left the room, and the topic didn't come up again for hours. But at dinner, out of nowhere, she doubled down, saying I should ditch the childish Lego nonsense and man up. We ignored her, but her sour expression showed she wasn't pleased. The rest of their visit went fine, or so I thought. They left at 3 a.m. to catch a flight, and we said our goodbyes. The next morning, I woke up to find my Millennium Falcon in pieces, with a note from my mother-in-law calmly stating it was for my own good, so I could focus on what matters. She'd snuck around at night, smashed it, and left. My son and I were devastated. I called her, but she refused to apologize, insisting it was necessary. I told her she wasn't welcome back until she apologized. My wife isn't thrilled with my stance, and now I'm wondering if I went too far. Was I out of line, or is this behavior just wild? Honestly, it's not even about the Lego. It's straight-up toxic behavior. This grown woman crept through your house to destroy something you and your son bonded over. That's messed up. The real man comments were bad enough, but leaving a note like she did you a favor? That's next-level audacity. Even if she apologized, I wouldn't want her around. And the fact that your wife isn't fully supporting you? That's a red flag, too. You've got a wife problem as much as a mother-in-law problem. The original poster, OP, added a comment. I posted this last night, and the support today has been overwhelming. I'm so grateful and will take your advice into account. Many suggested I talk to my wife, and I will. I'll also stand firm with my mother-in-law. Some recommended legal action, but I don't want to escalate. Thanks for the support. I'll update soon. A commenter said, She didn't just ruin your project. She hurt her grandson. That's reason enough to keep her away. Your wife needs to see how this disrespects your whole family. If she doesn't support you, that's a serious issue. Good luck. You're not the jerk. OP replied. My main struggle is feeling like it's wrong to make it harder for my wife to see her parents, even with this conflict. You're right that my wife should back me, and I'll talk to her to understand her stance. Thanks for the support. Another commenter said, I'm disappointed in your wife. Her mom's actions were way out of line, and she should have called her out immediately. Your mother-in-law overstepped, and your wife understepped. OP responded, You're right. I'll work on resolving this with my wife. Thanks for the perspective. Another commenter noted, Your mother-in-law showed zero care for you or your son. That's a toxic person and an even worse grandmother. She needs to understand how her actions hurt her grandchild. This isn't just about you, it's about your son too. OP replied, Thanks for the encouragement. You're right that this matters to my son, and she had no right to destroy it. Another said, Her destroying a father-son project and dismissing your son's feelings shows something seriously wrong with her character. Did she even acknowledge your son's pain? I'd keep my kid away from her. Your wife should have shut her mom down the moment she insulted you and supported you after. You're not the jerk. Your mother-in-law and maybe your wife are. I'm furious for you. Legos are for all ages. How's this different from building model cars or planes? OP added. She was dismissive of my son's sadness, saying he'd get over it and that destroying the set was necessary for me to move on. OP later updated. Thanks for all the support. It's helped me see things clearly. I had a long talk with my wife to sort this out. We called my mother-in-law to de-escalate, but things only got worse. For context, her parents visited, and while her mom made snide remarks about my Lego hobby, we found the Millennium Falcon destroyed with her note after they left. I discussed my hurt with my wife, especially since she didn't fully back me. She admitted she secretly disliked my Lego hobby and partly agreed with her mom, though she thought her mom went too far. This stung, as Legos are a lifelong passion, and as an engineer, I love creating with them. We weren't fully aligned, but agreed to resolve things with her mom. We called her, and I apologized for banning her, hoping for a quick resolution. I asked for an apology for the Falcon, but she refused, saying if she gave in, I'd never outgrow my Lego obsession. My wife's unhappy, and our marriage is feeling strained, which worries me. My son now strongly dislikes his grandmother, and I can't blame him. She's also been fixated on talking about Trump lately. Should we consider a care facility for her? Things are worsening, and I'm not sure if I can fix this. I'll update with developments. Commenters weighed in. This goes beyond Legos. Your mother-in-law's actions likely stem from talks with your wife, who may have fueled her behavior. Your wife admitting she dislikes your hobby and agrees with her mom suggests they've discussed this behind your back. You've got bigger issues than your mother-in-law. Another said, your wife resenting something that brings you and your son joy is a major red flag. Both she and her mom are wrong. If she can't see the problem, you may need to rethink the relationship. Another added, you don't have a mother-in-law problem. You have a wife problem. She doesn't respect your bond with your son or your work as an engineer, and her mom's actions were likely encouraged by her. Focus on your wife's lack of support, not just her mom. Most agreed the wife's lack of support and the mother-in-law's disregard for the son's feelings are deeply concerning. What do you think? Share your thoughts below. Now, on to another story, an older one from a throwaway account during the lockdown era, so expect some pandemic references. It's titled, My 40 Million Ex-Wife, 40 Female, Wants Me to Spend Her Final Days with Her. Here's the backstory. I met my ex at 10. She was my twin sister's best friend, so we were a tight trio growing up. We started dating at 14, married at 23, but things fell apart 5 years later when she confessed to a month-long affair with a coworker. The guilt led her to tell me, and though we tried to fix things, I couldn't trust her anymore. She swore she loved me and would wait to prove I was the only one, but I couldn't move past it. We divorced, childless. 3 years later, I met my current wife, 38F, and we married after 2 years. She's my dream partner, and my ex, per my sister, never moved on. She quit her job, works at a church, and kept trying to reconcile, even confessing her love on my wedding day, saying she'd wait forever. My sister says she's stayed single since. Recently, my wife and I, married 7 years with 2 kids, 7F, 3M, had my sister and her kids over for a play date while my wife was grabbing lunch. My sister shared that my ex has less than 6 months to live and is refusing treatment, wanting to live her final days fully. One bucket list item? She wants me to be her husband again at our old shared house. No intimacy, just my presence, maybe holding her occasionally. I said no, as it felt like emotional cheating. My sister begged me to at least meet her, and we argued, not loudly, the kids were nearby, until my wife returned. My sister explained, and while my wife seemed upset, she said she understood my ex's perspective. Later, my wife said she wouldn't mind if I visited my ex regularly, knowing our past. I love my wife more than anything. She's made me happier than even the best times with my ex. I have no romantic feelings for my ex. That love died long ago. I don't hate her, but I'm torn. I might regret not seeing her one last time, especially since our last meeting, my wedding day, was rough. I don't want to risk my marriage, though. My wife says she's fine, but I worry she'll feel differently after. Any advice? Edit. If I do this, it's just visiting and talking, nothing husband-like. My sister says sharing a meal would make her feel like we're married again. Wow, what a delicate situation. It's sad, but your closure was given years ago when you ended things. Her not moving on isn't your burden. Your wife's being incredibly understanding, but agreeing to something and living through it are different. Watching you spend time with a dying ex could stir unexpected emotions, and your sister saying a meal would make her feel married again? That's crossing a line. A commenter suggested, don't do it. There's risk and no real reward. Support your ex differently. Run errands or have a meal with your wife present. Playing house could hurt your marriage. Another said, this could strain your marriage, even if your wife agrees now. How will you explain this to your kids? Meet for coffee, get closure, and discuss boundaries with your wife. Another added, "Your wife's an angel, but don't do this." Your ex chose her path. She cheated and didn't move on. Don't risk your wife's feelings. OP later updated, "My ex, known since we were 10, cheated and now dying, wants me around. After your advice, I talked to my wife, assuring her she's my priority. I'd only visit as a friend, never staying overnight or being alone. She felt better, genuinely okay with it. I set boundaries with my sister after a heated talk. A week later, I visited our old home with my sister. Seeing my ex, I felt no negativity, just like seeing an old friend. She cried, and though some thought she was faking, her illness was clear. We hugged, talked, and I shared stories about my kids. The house was unchanged, with our old photos still up, which felt odd, but I didn't comment. We had lunch, played board games, and it felt like our childhood trio days. I left at 6, and she was sad, but understood. She whispered, "I love you," but said she was happy I found joy she couldn't give. That hit hard. I told my wife everything, and she was pleased, especially since I brought her favorite food. She agreed to let me bring the kids next time. It was closure I needed, and I'm grateful for your advice. Don't judge my ex too harshly. She made a mistake but isn't evil. This is my final update. Commenters praised OP's compassion, but worried about the ex's fixation, suggesting therapy years ago. The sister enabling her, with photos still up, was a red flag. Many hoped OP didn't bring the kids, as seeing their dad's old life could confuse them. What do you think? Share below. Thanks for joining today. Your support means everything. See you in the next one. Much love.